Hi, my name is Nancy Eisenman, and I work at Healing Hearts of Indy Counseling in Indianapolis, Indiana. And today, my video is entitled The Importance of Self-Care. There seems to be a rather chronic problem in our culture today, a pervasive belief or set of expectations that we must continually achieve and overfunction. This is fed by the demand put on us by the workforce to be productive, complete more in less time, and otherwise be super workers. Sometimes we fall into the trap of unbalance and even workaholism when we forget to find that balance. It's a pretty easy trap to fall into because today's culture is go, go, go. Beth Moore, in one of her Bible studies, coined the term the captivity of activity, which I really like that a lot. I've certainly fallen into this trap too. I knew that grad school, for example, would mean that I was about to spend a few years being super busy, and that's a bit of an understatement, yeah. So sometimes we go through seasons in our lives when balance is basically impossible. Times when it's necessary to pull an all-nighter or become unbalanced to finish a difficult project. So those of us of the more codependent persuasion tend to take care of everyone in those situations but ourselves. This can lead to unwanted conditions such as burnout and resentment. Those of us who are more counterdependent tend to be grandiose about self-care and either indulge in it too much, letting others overfunction for us, or neglect it completely because of our want to be seen as invincible. So today I want to address the ramifications of this and couple that with some ideas about self-care and balance and the importance of them. So being chronically stressed out has an actual physiological effect on your brain structure. I recently read a book called Brain Rules, 12 Principles for Surviving and Thriving at Work, Home, and School. And it was written by John Medina in 2008. It's a really good book. I actually would recommend it to anyone because it's not only really informative, it's also really an easy read. It's not full of huge words that you have to look up in a dictionary. Just to follow along like I do, when I'm reading complex research articles. And anyway, it explains how our brains work and why, and it's really interesting. Medina said that under chronic stress, adrenaline actually creates scars in your blood vessels that can cause heart attack or stroke, and the cortisol damages the cells of the hippocampus in your brain, crippling your ability to learn and remember. So over time, the lack of balance and self-care that reduces chronic stress actually causes scarring in your brain. So we all know the nature of scars, and that is that these wounds can heal, but they might even get a lot better, but that tissue that was damaged will never be like it once was. So the self-care issue is really important for long-term brain health. As far as our interpersonal relationships are concerned, balancing in a way that creates time for those relationships you really want to nurture is also imperative. So the first consideration for self-care is not to overextend ourselves. So how do we do that when it's so easy in our culture today to be overextended? It's simple and difficult at the same time, actually. We do this, first of all, by learning to say no. Repeat after me, no. Sometimes that can be a really difficult thing to do, right? All of you that lean toward that codependency side know exactly what I'm talking about. This is about having good boundaries and a strong knowledge of our own limitations. Brene Brown is an author that I really enjoy, and she's known for her research on shame, authenticity, and vulnerability. And I thought she shared a really good tip for helping yourself to think before you answer a request. It gives you some time to figure out if you really want to say no. She said that what she does is she spins a ring on her finger 3 times before answering a request. Can you bring brownies for the bake sale? Spin, spin, spin. No. She gives herself just that little bit of time to think before she answers. And she gives herself permission in that time to say no if it will cause her to become burned out, resentful, or otherwise overextended. So we need to have good boundaries and know our limitations. So important. So the second consideration for self-care is a self-awareness of what refreshes us. So extroverts, for example, need to be around people to rejuvenate themselves, while introverts need time to be alone. Activities that refresh the soul are various and different for different people. Perhaps it's reading a good book in your favorite chair. Maybe it's taking a bubble bath in candlelight. Perhaps it's going to the gym or taking a walk. Maybe a board game with kiddos or friends. How about a massage or a manicure? Google self-care and get ideas. Try them out. Find what works for you. Self-care is even more important when you're really busy, when it's hardest to make time for it. Think about what you truly value: your healthy brain cells, your interpersonal relationships, and your sanity. Speaking of which, it's time for me to do some of this myself, so I will practice what I preach. Happy relaxation, everyone.